So I'm kind of getting addicted to these time lapses. Lapses? Time lapse? That doesn't sound right. Look at all of these buds. 3 of them have already bloomed, these 3. But tonight, these 4. Can't wait. Probably gonna be the last time I do a time lapse of this because, like, I need my camera for other things other than recording flowers blooming. 4 of them one night, that's me pretty cool. Only problem I've been having is that I can usually only get a portion of them in focus because they're so far apart. This lens I'm using here, this is a, what are you? This is the Sigma 20mm DG Art. It has an f1.4, which means basically that its aperture opens really wide, can take in a ton of light. So it's awesome for nighttime photography and videography. This is the lens I use at nighttime, but it's not variable, it's fixed, so I can't zoom in or zoom out. It's just whatever distance it is what it is. It's a fantastic lens though. And it's important that I use this lens because it's gonna be dark soon and then I'll need the good one. Hopefully, finally, this is attempt number 3. I'll be able to like get this down. I've done 2 others and the other 2 came out like kind of messed up. Like part of them would be grainy, part of them wouldn't because I wasn't adjusting my exposure and my F values like I should have been. So I think I have it figured out. It's about every 20 or 30 minutes I have to come back and check on it and readjust according to the light. The only problem with the time lapse is it doesn't readjust automatically. I can't use auto mode for it. But I mean, that's okay. Wow, the cicadas are loud tonight. You guys see these fish? The ones right there? Shaky camera. Sorry. Well, those fell down. I got them back up. And I figured I should use it as an opportunity to prune off some of the old foliage on this Alexander palm, but I think it's grown too much. I don't think I'm going to be able to reach that. Hey, also, my new clippers. Look at that. This is why I don't buy nice clippers. These are a week old. Didn't get them wet. They just sat outside for one day. It was humid and yep. I guess really nice clippers would be like probably some type of stainless and rust resistant, but still, you see that? 1 week. That's ridiculous. What are you whining about? I don't know if you guys could hear that. What's wrong? What do you need? What's going on? You just had a bath. No, you don't want those. You don't want those. You get out of there. Yeah, so, I don't know. I'm gonna go challenge fate. See if I can reach. I think I have some whoppers somewhere. Maybe that'll work. I don't know. I'm gonna try and get that done. I got a decent amount of stuff cut up there. Looking nicer up top. I couldn't get all of it, but that's alright. The main point was just to get the old shabby stuff off and let the plant put its energy into putting up new leaves, foliage, fronds, that's what they're called. I usually wait a little while to do that. I, let it put out a couple of new fronds first so that there's a nice, decent canopy up there, and there's plenty going on there to go ahead and cut the old stuff out. So, and these are a self-cleaning palm. You don't necessarily need to do that, but I wanted to. I wanted the old foliage gone. It was ugly. It was bothering me, so bye-bye. It's gone now. Yeah, that's a pretty hefty pile of palm fronds. I have to say, I am amazed how quickly these flowers have come and gone. I don't know if they were pollinated or not. I hand-pollinated 4 of them. We will see if that does anything. I think this little nubby guy that's left up here is where the fruit comes out, so I'd say that was a success. And I hand-pollinated this one, that one, and that one. But I'm pretty sure, I saw bees and things in these guys in the morning time, so I don't really think I needed to hand-pollinate it. In nature, in the wild, this would typically be pollinated by bats, but I'm up north from their growing range, so I don't think that was the case here. Either way, it was a lot of fun watching these guys bloom and do their thing. I put that video out on Monday, a few videos prior to this one. And I stayed up kind of late getting that edited just because I was so excited about it. I love how that video came out. It was a lot of fun watching them open and close and whatnot. The life and death of the flowers, which turned out to be somewhat serendipitous because when I went to bed that night when I was done editing, it's a long story. Basically, I got up in the morning and my hamster was dead. I know, it's just a hamster, but it was my pet. I was pretty attached. He was cool, very chill, laid back, friendly animal, and I miss him. And thank you guys for your kind comments in that video. I appreciate it. A little strange because when I went to bed, he was up and doing his thing and seemed fine, but it's a little bit normal for things to go down like that with hamsters. Excuse me, cicadas. I'm trying to talk here. He was fairly old, so it's okay. It's what it is. Where did you do it? You hanging out with the flowers? You hanging out with the flowers? It did kind of cripple my motivation for the week, though, not gonna lie. But, I've been out here cleaning up his cage, getting it sanitized so I can put it away. Because I would like to eventually get another one at some point someday, so gotta get everything nice and clean. I've already sanitized, there's just a little bit more scrubbing and rinsing to do, so that's what's happening there. And I went by Michael's and picked up a little treasure chest, just so I'd have something to bury him in. These are his favorite chewies in here and whatnot, so need to find a place for that. I don't know where I'm going to bury him. This door, the house is settling. The door won't. Why won't you latch? There we go. Typically with a pet, I like to bury them and put a special type of plant on top of them. Something perennial and tough that'll live for many, many years. So that, you know, it can live off of the decay and the new... It's a whole thing. It's just me. Maybe that's weird. I don't know. But things are kind of full. I don't really know where I'm gonna put Tito. I was thinking about maybe coming in here into the banana clump and putting him in there, because the bananas are one of my favorite parts of the garden out here. Even though they didn't really do much this year, but that's because I was really slacking on fertilizing. I need to get back on top of that. There's still plenty of time to do that, but that might be a good area for him. I don't know. I know I don't want it to go anywhere I don't want him to go anywhere over here. Because this entire area, there's not a single perennial underneath this queen palm. Well, that's only kind of true. The Chinese fan palms might come back next year. I'll mulch them heavily, we'll see what happens. But otherwise, nothing in here is a survivor here. I have to dig up the crotons and the hibiscus. I probably won't bother with the Thai giants. We will see how I'm feeling in the fall. The sago comes back in the house. The great big castor beans, the Zanzibarensis, these are annuals, so don't have to worry about that. Oh, but there's a pineapple lily down here that's not getting enough sun and getting too much water. That's why it's all bleh, like that. Happens every year with my pineapple lilies, because these guys right here, and the bananas get a little bit big and they end up shading them. It wasn't like that for a few years I had them, but you see how they kind of go bleh, like that? They just go bleh. That's from not enough sun and too much water, so I guess I can try and adjust the sprinklers. I probably won't, to be honest, because I don't feel like it. I'll stake the flowers up and try and kind of tidy things up in here. I've already started that by doing heavy pruning on the banana trees, letting a little bit more light in down there. That's pretty. Look at that. Jiggling around in there. It's one of the things I love about these colocages here is when they fill up with water, they pour forward like so. They just go bloop. The water drains out of them, kind of like the coffee cups or teacups, except I believe these are Bikini Teeny, which is a hybrid, and they're slightly more cold hardy than the coffee cups and teacups. That's what's going on there. Yeah, so that's the same thing that goes for up here, what I was saying before about letting in more light. That was another reason I wanted to prune things out a little bit. It was because I wanted to let more sunlight in down here. These guys, like the hibiscus, hasn't been flowering much. I need to repot this hibiscus, another hibiscus. I have three hibiscus that I need to repot. So I might do, no, because I need to find the pots for those. Oh, and I finally got my fountain set up. I originally got this to put down the Serenity Garden, but there's still no electricity down there, so I got tired of keeping it in the box. Isn't it pretty? It's fun to play with. Something small and simple, and at night it's really pretty. The light like flickers like a flame. I love it. Very good clearance buy. That down there is the Serenity Garden if you don't know what I'm talking about. Have I talked to you guys about my big dead bush? This burning bush didn't make it through the winter. It was big, it was old, and just wasn't good for it. So it's time to cut it out of there. Which in my head is going to be super easy, but I feel like the reality is that this is probably going to be kind of a pain in the butt, and I'm not really looking forward to it. Oh man, there are mosquitoes everywhere over here. That wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be. Still need to get that out of there though. That's going to be the hard part. And I have to bundle this up for the yard waste people. That goes out tonight. They picked it up in the morning, so have to do that. I hate doing that. At least there's no foliage though. I'm not gonna feel like I'm covered in critters by the time I'm done. I think I have just the thing to go in place of that burning bush. You guys remember this? This is the daisy planters from several videos ago, but it was quick, it was cheap, it was easy. I think there's probably just the right amount of sun there, so, and I'd kind of planned on putting this in that area anyways. I think this will do nicely there. It does seem a little bit random and out of place, but I'm fine with it, at least for this year. I have my punch tool here and my drip line right down there. I'm just gonna pop that in, push a coupler down in there, like so. My other end of the drip line and push that down on there. And then for the time being, I'm just using one of these adjustable dripper stakes. I'm gonna put that all the way down on low so we don't drown the plant, and stake it in up front where it's more directed towards the annuals than the daisy, because the daisy will drown very easily if it gets too much water. So do that and just keep an eye on it. Yeah, and I figure since I'm out here working on the front, doing some things with the drippers, I'd like to get one run over here to this yucca. I feel like it would grow a lot more if it got some water. This whole area over here doesn't get hit by any sprinklers, so I'm going to put one just on the yucca. And apparently I'm out of the little stakes I was put in the other pot, so I'm using a 180 bit here, 180 fitting, I should say. That's just temporary. This is yucca recurvifolia. They're not quite as finicky about moisture and whatnot, but I still don't necessarily want all that going right into the crown. Is any of this in focus? Oh, never mind. Found one. I have a little toolbox I keep excess emitters in. I knew I had some in there. So I'm going to go in here, clean the trunk up on this yucca, and, I mean, not perfectly, because I don't want to stick my hands in the cactus. Do the best I can and get this put in there. You know, and actually, since I'm over here working on this, I do have an extra bag of pea gravel. Maybe I'll get in here, rake this stuff out, and pour that out. That might look better. This is probably not entertaining at all. I'm so sorry. Hey, me again. Been about 30 seconds and I decided that that seems silly to put pea gravel in where absolutely nobody will ever see it. The drainage here is fine as it is, so I'm just going to go ahead and rake in some compost just to help enrich the soil a little bit and be done with this. Oh, I mean, after I put this dripper in here, that's what I mean. And try, there's two little trunks in there, so I want this in between both of those as best as I can. It's a really hard reach here, and I don't want it too much contact with the trunks. Just because, you know, I don't want them to rot. There we go. There are a lot of awkward angles here working under the bush. The pieces that are left behind on the trunk there, those will loosen up on their own in, I don't know, a month or two, and I should be able to just pull those off the trunk the rest of the way by hand. Hey, now it's time to patch some bald spots. The crabgrass and nutsedge and everything were pretty bad this year, so the spraying repetitively and whatnot, not to mention the extreme heat and drought and everything, there's some spots I need to work on a little bit. I couldn't care any less. If it was up to me, I'd fill the front yard with plants. I think it's stupid to have a lawn out here that nobody uses, but it's the way of things, so I've accepted it. Kind of. Not really. Actually, everything I just said kind of negates me accepting it, doesn't it? Yeah, that's good. That's enough. I'm over it. I went through, threw down some compost, raked it in, put the grass seed on, and now I'm going to water it in very, very heavily. It'd be more ideal to do it by hand, but I don't have a hose that reaches all the way up to these places in my front yard, so the sprinklers will have to do. My front lawn has always been kind of troublesome. I cannot tell if anything is in focus, which usually means I need to change my contact lenses. So, as I was saying, it's been troublesome. I need to have it aerated. Somebody to come out with a plug aerator, an aerator that comes in and removes the little plugs of soil. Oh, I should preface, what I'm doing right now is making sure the sprinklers are hitting all the spots I seeded, and talking to you guys while I'm doing it. So, I prefer the plugs because that opens up space in the soil for air to get in and roots to do their thing, and when I do have it aerated, I go over it very heavily with compost and gypsum and whatnot to help enrich the soil. The other type of aerators I could rent, put on the back of my mower, they just like push holes into the ground. When you have heavy clay, all that really does is, well, make your clay harder. It does still open up space to get gypsum and stuff down, but the plugs are really a lot better for hard clay. So, gonna have to make sure this stays nice and wet for several days. Grass seed doesn't have the same type of like nucleus in it that a lot of other seeds do. So once it starts to sprout, you have to keep it wet until the roots get down. It's kind of like if an egg has a tiny little yolk and there's only enough there to just like start the embryonic mitosis process where the cells start dividing, but after that, they need the nutrients elsewhere. That's the situation with grass, which is why I hate it. I think it's stupid. Let's fill this with plants. I would love that so much more. I mean, I guess it's pretty, but it seems like a waste of space. I guess not if you're like athletic and you use your yard, but the front, that's, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. It does look like everything's being hit though, so that's good. In my head, this was going to be a lot bigger and have a much larger impact, but I mean, it's fine. It'll do. I like it enough for this year. I think the entire front yard needs a facelift, so I don't see a reason to invest a lot of money in something to put here when I might be pulling a lot of these shrubs out next year and kind of redoing a lot of this space. Things are getting old and tired, and it needs a new start. Or a fresh start. Hi, Rainbow. I hope that shows up on camera because you pretty. God, my neighbors probably think I'm psychotic. Not that they would be wrong. I got a plumeria tree, and man, was it a good deal. It was 50% off, so it was, I think it had already been 50% off of like 80, and then it was another, it was like $21. And there's actually multiple trunks in there. That's not one plant. I hope they're all the same color flower. I have no idea what color the flowers are. I've had plumerias in the past, and they did great, but times have changed. So my previous plumeria I had when I was a teenager, and eBay had just kind of become a thing, and I got on eBay and I ordered this huge cutting, massive cutting from someone's tree in Hawaii. And the thing was like 5 feet tall with, I think it had like 4 or 5 branches on it. It was beautiful. And I remember it was $36 with shipping and handling. And I had it for several years. It grew, and in the wintertime just looked like a tree of like pickles because they defoliate in the wintertime. And my dad, I was a kid. I mean, I was probably like 14, 15 years old. One winter, he had a brain fart, and he's like, this thing's dead. And he threw it away because they just look kind of dead in the winter time. People who don't know plants, that's kind of what they're going to assume when your house plant just looks like a bunch of sticks. And I never got a new one because at that point, after, you know, some time had passed, they were becoming much more popular, and the internet was starting to become much more of a thing. Man, I'm making myself sound old. This is the 90s, like late 90s, actually probably early 2000s. Internet had probably been a thing, I just wasn't part of it. Anyways, and they started selling them as little cuttings for like $30 a piece. So I haven't gotten a new one since because I honestly I didn't want to spend the money on a tiny little stick, no matter how cool the hybrid was. I wanted to get a new tree. That's what I got, 20 bucks. Look at that. Isn't it pretty? Hopefully the flowers are pretty. I really hope they're not white or yellow. Not that like white or yellow is ugly, but I really prefer pink. I doubt they'll be pink, but fingers crossed. That's what I'm hoping for. So that's that big news. I'll work on getting that potted up in another video. And I picked up some more clearance plants. Okay, so these were all basically free. It was like $1.25 for the whole loot. Not everything on here's what I'm talking about. It's just these bromeliads, these really sad and junky looking bromeliads. But the thing is, they all have offshoots on them. They're all putting out little pups, so it may not be much to look at this year, but next year it'll be a lot of flowers. This guy has 2 on it. There's 1 or 2 on this one, 1 on here, 2 on that one. This one still has like a reasonable flower on it. And this, well, I probably shouldn't have gotten this one, should I? Oh, no, it's got an offshoot. So yeah, not the prettiest things, but next year there'll be all kinds of bromeliads for $1.25. Awesome deal. I do think I should like sort them, and I don't really know what I'm going to do with them because they're an eyesore, but next year it's going to be really cool. Speaking of things on clearance, I kind of hit the jackpot at Michael's the other day. I got all of these pots. These guys were 80% off, which is fantastic. I wanted to buy a bunch of these in the springtime when they first came out, but how much were they? They were too much. $11.99. Like, I was like, really? For that? But I like the old weathered look, which you can DIY, but I don't have time for that. And I probably wouldn't do a very good job at it either. So they were crazy, crazy cheap. I think they ended up being like $1.50 or something a piece. I may actually go back and buy the rest of them because I like them a lot. Especially these. Like, I want to put a tiny little orange tree in it. Wouldn't that be cute? I mean, for like a year until it outgrew it. Okay, that's not the point. The point, I have a question. So, fall is approaching. I'm not thrilled about it, but it is what it is. And last year, my fall planter, Halloween planter videos, there were a few people who commented and said, hey, you know, these are really cool, but none of these things are available anymore. And that's because I waited until October to post them, because that just felt appropriate to me. But I guess the reality is sometimes people draw inspirations from some of these planters, so what I'm thinking about doing with the fall planters is doing those in September, early September, and the Halloween ones in late September. And I don't know, would that be weird? I don't like to jump ahead of things too much, except for summer, that like, as soon as it's warm outside, I'm like, yeah, it's summer. Even if it's just a warm day in February. But it does make sense. So I'm not going to show you everything, but right now at Michael's, a lot of those floral Halloween fall things are buy one get one 50% off, so I stocked up on things I'm going to be using for planters. And yeah, I just wanted you guys, let me know, would it be weird if I go ahead and get those videos out starting in early September? Feels too early to me, but, you know, to each his own. And a lot of places further north, like their nurseries are shutting down on selling things. So I guess it does make sense to go ahead and get it going. I'll have them like hidden somewhere because I don't want them out in my garden until October or late September. But I think it'd be fun to go ahead and do them a little bit earlier. And I even remember I had trouble finding things to put in some of them last year too. So, and this is just like a very small example of the things I've picked up. I have 2 here that would probably be in one video, and about 4 others. Yeah, I think that's about right. Okay, I'll go ahead and show you this guy just because I thought it was really cute. Look at how cute she's got. Look how it's got little legs. Isn't that cute? That'll be fun to plant up. And, you know, they're so cheap right now. So that way, I'm putting in the vlog now so if people see something they want. You know, it was at Michael's. Hopefully they're still on sale when this video comes out. I don't know. Also, I keep buying sheet moss for some reason. Like, I go to Lowe's, I'm like, oh, I need sheet moss. And I grab a bag. I have like 6 bags now. It's time, at least I remember, I don't need any more. When I did buy those throw pillows that were in the vlog a couple weeks ago. Don't judge me. Just kidding, judge away. I got this from an antique mall for really cheap. I don't know if I love it or hate it. Jury's still out on that one. I think they'll be nice in the springtime at least. But these are what made me think to go ahead and ask that question and talk to you guys about it, is because those little bromeliads, I think I'm going to go ahead and toss those in these guys for this year, through wintertime till spring. So I can put a few in one bowl. I think that'll look fine. See? Isn't that pretty? Can't even see it. Not that that matters. No, I know it's not pretty. But once those offshoots take off, it will be. I will be removing the mother plants once they start to die back a little bit more. I could probably cut that flower off right there. That one's probably ready to go. But yeah, as those pups start to fill out, I'll pull the moms out, the main plants, and it'll fill out, and next year hopefully there'll be a nice colorful arrangement of bromeliads in here. Maybe. If not, then, well, it's $1.25, $1.50 down the drain. Can't remember. It's like $1.50 maybe, I think. Yeah, and here are the bigger ones. I prefer to go through and cut the foliage off when it gets to be too bad. The problem is, wherever you cut it, you'll end up having a deadline, so that's kind of like up to you, what you do there. I potted this up with just an all-purpose soil that I mixed with some orchid bark so it will drain really, really well. And kind of like with succulents, with echeverias, or at least I am always tempted to go through and pull the dead stuff off the bottoms. With the bromeliads, I am a little bit more careful because those dead leaves that are in there, you can kind of see some right in here, right there. Those are often protecting new pups that are coming up. So I try and pull those a little bit higher, or cut them a little bit higher, not yank them off, so that way I don't damage any offshoots that are coming up. But yeah, so like I said, not beautiful, but hey, next year, that's what I'm thinking about. While I'm at it, I have a few other things to repot, so I'm just going to go ahead and do that. This is a pink angel trumpet, and it's not happy in this pot. I want to put it in something clay that'll breathe a little bit better, so I can still keep it wet from my drip emitters, but it will have some air exchange, some oxygen to flow through there. Sometimes just giving your plants a fresh start can make a big difference. That just wasn't happy. I didn't want to keep it in the nursery can anyway, so this will be better here. I have it potted up a little bit higher, just a little bit higher, because I was a little bit worried about rot, because this is a cutting in here and it may have been put in a little bit too deep, but I think this should be an improvement. Okay, now I'm going to go ahead and repot this guy. I guess I haven't really explained what's going on right now. I'm repotting things, if you hadn't noticed, and I think I'm really just procrastinating burying my hamster, because that makes me sad, and I don't want to do it. These are things that need to be done, so we'll just call this nervous energy. And what am I going to title this vlog? It is all over the place. Procrastinate burying my dead hamster with me? I don't think that's a good title. Anyways, so this chlorophytum here, this is a spider plant, common house plant. It's been in this pot for several years. It's time to go ahead and divide it up, give it some fresh soil. I'm going to split it into 2 different pots so that, you know, that there's more soil for them to have. I don't have matching hanging baskets, unfortunately. I just have these plastic ones. I don't want to use the cocoa liner ones because chlorophytums, the spider plants, they are water hogs. They like moisture. So what was my point? Oh yeah, the coconut liners. Those dry out very, very quickly, so I'm not going to do that. This isn't as root bound as I thought it was going to be, but there's not much going on in here. I think I'm going to go ahead and just loosen up the butt a little bit, loosen up those roots, get this plastic piece out of here that's in the bottom of its hanging basket. Aha, there we go. So I'm going to kind of loosen this up a little bit and split it in half. That was easy enough. One half is slightly larger than the other. Here's a bigger half, so I'll put that in the other pot, but this should be fine. Just gonna go ahead and drop this in here, try and center it as much as possible, fill it up, put some full-release fertilizer in there, and done. Okay, there we go. Those are done. I think there's 2 other small plants I need to handle. I have this croton here, really neat variety, but it is so sad. It is ready to get potted up. Also, I'm noticing that there is a bit of an ant infestation there, so I'm going to have to handle that as well. Mainly, I want to get this pot up with some fresh soil that drains a little bit faster, because I think what's going on here is I thought it was being underwatered, but I think that it's actually holding on to the moisture for too long. So I'm going to amend that soil with a lot of sand so it drains a little bit more quickly. That's kind of weird. I pulled this out and ants didn't go everywhere. I don't know what that's about. I put some gravel in the bottom of this because crotons do not like to have wet feet at all. Go ahead and try and get this guy kind of centered in there. Go and fill it up. I'm using a different mix than I was using for the spider plants. This is just all-purpose Miracle-Gro. Drains quickly. And I think I'll probably top dress it with a hefty amount of sand too. I'll actually go ahead and work some of that sand in there before it's full so it can work its way down a little bit more easily. Alright, and this is the last. It looks pretty bad. I think what happened here is I think the squirrels or chipmunks got into its pot and actually uprooted it, so not only am I going to pot it up, I'm going to put it somewhere new too, because, well, that just can't keep happening. Man, there was a lot of damage done to this thing. Look at all these bits and pieces that got pulled up and out of there. I think they might still be viable. I don't know. I'm going to go ahead and fill this up the rest of it with potting soil and just kind of hope for the best here. And for this guy, since this is a pothos, they're a little bit more tolerant of moisture retention, so I'm using my other potting mix that tends to stay a little bit more moist. Hope that's not a trigger word for you. Sorry. Trigger word. I don't think that's a trigger word for anybody. I think they just don't like the word. Some people don't like that word. Okay, man, this is, well, like I said, just gonna have to hope for the best here with this one. Luckily, they're super tough plants, so I think it should be okay. Once I can tell that the roots are starting to do their thing, I may actually cut this back, and I can take the cuttings and stick them in the soil up there or put them somewhere else, but I just want to encourage more growth from the surface. And just go ahead and water these guys in nice and heavily, let the runoff kind of do its thing and get the bubbles out of the soil and whatnot, and move on with things. Okay, well, I've been doing a little bit of thinking. Actually, it didn't require much thought at all. And I think that, you know, the burying the hamster and everything, that's a personal thing. That does not need to be part of the vlog. I'm sure nobody cares anyway. So, that's my own thing. Some people might be like, why are you so upset over a hamster? Well, why have a pet if you're not going to care about its demise? I mean, that's silly. And thank you again to everybody for being so incredibly supportive and kind. I really appreciate that. If you haven't seen the video of the cactus flowering, personally, that's like, I think one of my favorite things I've ever done video-wise, so I suggest checking it out. Maybe it's not everyone's cup of tea. I loved it. I've watched it several times, but not the ending. The ending makes me too sad. Next week, orchid videos. It's not going to be all orchid videos, but I'm at least going to be getting those filmed next week. I have several in spike and in bloom, and a lot that need to be repotted. Like, a lot that need to be repotted. So I don't know if I'm going to be filming all of that. It'll probably just be like a select few. Or would it be fun to do like a just like sit down with me while I repot things video and just listen to me ramble about stuff? Because I don't want to go through and do like a tutorial for every single, there's too many of them. And the way I do things is not always the most popular way. I tend to be fairly simplistic with my orchids. To an extent. I like to make sure they stay supplemented and fertilized and everything, but as far as the potting medium goes and whatnot, I'm pretty relaxed with that. I just make sure it's fitting to the individual plants. Oh hey, that's not gonna help with rust on your clippers. That's not smart. But again, thank you for being so kind. Tito was a really cool hamster. Just about every single time I would handle him and put him back in his cage, I was always like thinking to myself how crazy it is that something like a hamster could be so easily domesticated and have such a calming presence. He was very kind, no biting, he was very chill, relaxed, didn't startle. A fun pet to have, and I was very grateful for it. It's important to stay grateful for the things that we have. That's always that reminder that comes along with death, to cherish everything in the moment while you can. But yeah, like I said, wrapping things up. I'm going to be doing a lot of cleaning here. I'm done with a lot of my smaller repots, so I'm going to go ahead and get this area tidied up. And next week, I had a plan. I don't remember what it was. Well, I don't know. We'll be surprised together. Oh, I have new fish coming in, which I'm very excited about. Some sterlets, which I've wanted since I was a child and haven't been able to find them. They get quite large, small for a sturgeon, but still not something for a fish tank. They'll be going in my ponds, and I'll be building a larger pond. That's like a whole separate thing that would take me forever to explain, so that'll be next week. Again, thank you all so much. I have my social media down below in the description of the video. If you don't mind leaving the video a thumbs up if you liked it, I appreciate it. It helps the channel and helps the videos a lot, and it makes a big difference. Thank you. And subscribe, it's down there as well, because I upload multiple times a week. And they're, I want to say, usually more organized and less chaotic, but that's not necessarily true. The videos that come out during the week, I try and keep things more together. The vlog is just, it's this, a lot of the time. Not always though, you just never know what's gonna happen. Like I was saying, I hope everybody's doing well, having a good day and a good life, and taking it all in while you can. Most importantly, everybody, keep on growing. Bye-bye.